Welcome to the Powercoast Girls podcast. We're your hosts, Jess
and Domy.
We're here to bring you authentic and raw conversations about faith, relationships, and personal growth. Whether you're a believer, a curious skeptic, or somewhere in between, we're here for you.
So grab your headphones,
your coffee,
or tea,
and get ready to be empowered.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We are back. And I am back.
Back and better. She left me for like a week.
I did. I know. I'm so glad to be back, though. I went back home to Dallas, and it was a good time, but it was so busy. I was telling her, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come back because...
she said she slept better in her bed last night.
I did. This bed. You know what it is, too, is like... my allergies were so bad in Texas. So when coming back here, like literally the air was just so much like
you knew I was here and you just missed me so much.
Oh my god.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm going back to Doom.
I'm like, I need her. No, but it was a good time. But yeah, I'm so glad to come back. And I think Tashi was too. And you went to Mexico a couple weeks ago. Was it a month ago now? I don't even remember.
January 25th.
Yeah, so a month ago. Wow, time's going by so fast, you guys. But
especially when you're having fun.
Anyway, y'all like how we're matching today. If you're watching on YouTube, yeah, we're matching.
Yeah,
which we usually do. Yeah, no, you should not be surprised. Okay, you want to talk about or tell them what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah. Okay, so today's topic is kind of we're kind of mixing into, I guess, really broad topics, but just trusting God in the unknown. And then what was like your suggestion?
Yeah, so trusting God in the unknown. It was like both of us were kind of like talking about what do we want to talk about next week, and she was talking about trusting God in the unknown, and mine was very similar in the sense of don't let your fears hold you back. And so a lot of that I feel like goes together. So today we're going to have some tips. We'll have 4 tips on how to trust God in the unknown amongst fear. So yeah, we're going to share like some experiences that we've gone through where we've had to trust God, even when we were afraid, and then we'll share some tips, and then what else?
And our power verse.
Yeah, our power verse. So
yeah. So for me, like, my whole life is one big unknown, literally, and I feel like this entire experience with California has been a very big unknown.
Same.
Like seriously. I think in the last podcast I had kind of spoken to this a little bit, but I quit my job. I was working at a crypto company in Toronto. I loved my team. I loved the company. I loved my career trajectory.
That's a hard word.
It is a hard word, especially when you speak so fast. But I just felt the Lord calling me out. And so I was like, okay, so it's time for me to leave. I've been wanting to go to California. Let me look into school. So I had quit my job in February with plans to move to California, to San Diego.
Wait, you were going to go to San Diego?
Yeah, master's in counseling psychology.
I did not know that. You guys, is news to me.
Yes. That was initially why I left the company.
Wait, so you weren't always planning to come to Orange County?
No.
What?
I know. I kept changing my mind.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
But California always.
Yeah, California always. It was going to be a seminary where I was going to study theology.
Oh, yeah.
And then also get my master's in counseling psychology so I can like be a family and marriage therapist.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but yes. I was just like,
fine.
What? San Diego?
So obviously March came around and that didn't work out. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I decided to stay home. I remember feeling like my whole world like fell apart, because I had told so many people that I was moving to California for this program. And of course, like, I updated my Facebook with a huge long post. It was so sentimental.
Wait, this was last year?
Literally. Like, if you go on my Facebook, I've had like 3 major big posts about like, okay, now I'm moving and this is what the Lord has done.
You're like, just kidding, I'm moving.
Literally. And it was just like, God kept shifting my plans. But that happened like 3 times. And so I was really put in a position where I had to just like stop planning and stop being so in control of my life, because that control wasn't serving me any purpose. Because the more I planned my life to a T, which I tend to really do, if you know me, you know that's one of my biggest flaws. the more I planned into it and the more I told people about my plans and the more I spoke to it, the more it came like completely tumbling down.
Yeah, I feel that.
But yeah, California eventually worked out, whatever. But even like when I moved here, beginning of January, like I was supposed to start work again at another crypto company in Canada.
Right.
So I moved January 2nd. I was supposed to start January 3rd. I had everything lined up.
Y'all, and I remember this because you were like, I got a job, I got this, and you were like, let's go, like,
boom,
I'm ready.
boom.
Yeah.
Literally. And then I attended a seminar at school for like international students. It was mandatory.
If you guys didn't listen to the last podcast, she's getting her master's.
Yes. I'm getting my my MBA at a Christian school. But anyways, they had a international student seminar and I had to attend it. And I just like mentioned to one of the immigration people there, I was like, oh, because I was in touch with them throughout the whole process. I was like, don't worry, I found a way around the whole working thing. I actually got myself like a full-time job in Canada. So, because when you're an international student in the States, like you're not allowed to work. You can only work on campus and only 20 hours. And they're like jobs like at the library or like at the coffee shop.
Right. And they don't pay as well as what you could be getting paid at like company.
So school's expensive. California's expensive. I need car. I need rent. I need living. I need to have fun. Like I need to, my tuition.
Right.
And then, yeah, of course they told me that was actually breaking some immigration law. And if immigration was to find out when I was applying for my like long stay visa, it would completely ruin my chances. Anyways, everything that I had planned completely fell apart once again. But this time, I really just like, it was weird because I'm usually like, I get super stressed out and I let my stress like, you've seen this. Yeah. You've seen me like have like the meltdowns of my life.
Well, and I'm very, like we talked about last time, like we're very similar and I'm the same way too, where it's like, when something doesn't go our way, and it's not that we're being like, oh, like something doesn't go our way, so we're just going to throw a tantrum, or it's not like that. It's just that the stress is so much and we get so overwhelmed that we just shut down. We shut down.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's fun shutting down with the same person in your room.
We're just like, no, but yeah. So sorry. Okay. Yeah. So you were saying, when plans fell through.
When plans fell through and everything, this time around, I just had a peace because when like plans fall in the past so many times, I've learned that like no matter how much I stress, no matter how much I try to like find band-aid solutions, at the end of the day, it's God that's in control. Right. And I just have to like surrender it to him and just trust that he will provide.
That he's got it.
And lo and behold, everything got taken care of and it's still being taken care of. And it's just, he's proven to me how faithful he is, how constant he is. He figured it all out, and there's still some missing pieces here and there, but I'm not stressing.
Life isn't perfect, and I think we'll talk about this when we go into like the tips, but I think being close to the source, which in this case, our source is always God, right? So it's like being close to God helps in every aspect of our life. So like when things don't go our way, we can go back and have that peace and know that it's gonna be fine because God's got it. So like, why are we gonna worry? So
I don't know how people like cope if they don't like, if they're not, they don't have a God to depend on. Like if it wasn't for my Lord, like I don't know where I would be mentally. I don't know, like
so lost.
Because I remember back when I was like living like in this gray area where I called myself a Christian, but I wasn't living a godly lifestyle. Like I would resort to like so many bad habits, and it was just like a one-way street to like disaster.
Right.
But since like changing my whole life around, and like even then it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you have to cultivate and like pour into,
and it's not easy. It's not easy. I struggle with this. I don't want people to also think that like we're just like these high and mighty like Christian girls.
Yes.
We're not. I literally
work in progress.
I literally struggle every single week. I don't want to say every single day because some days are not like terrible.
Today she's not stressed. I told her.
I'm feeling good today. I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling great. But yeah,
you like woke up from bed like this morning.
It's because it's because I'm back in California.
Yeah, that's why. I walked in the room at 7:30 and she's like making her bed and everything. I was like, whoa. She's like, it's go time.
I'm like, let's go. Like I'm ready to get out of here and get the day started. But But yeah, no, like I think we're, like you said, we're works in progress, and I think we will always be. We're imperfect people, but having God be like the foundation of everything just makes life so much, I'm going to say makes it easier, because life's still hard, but it makes it so much easier to, whenever you go through obstacles, you have that to fall back on,
sure.
and you have that hope. And that's what faith is all about. It's like trusting God and believing in the unseen, and that's just where we lie, what our beliefs are. But yeah,
and it's every experience you only like learn, you know, like where I was a year ago, I would not be dealing with the unknown and the stress and the anxiety like I am now. So it's just like every experience, it seems like it's a lot mentally, but actually it's nothing compared to all the experiences that I have yet to face in my future. But it's just like with every experience, you improve just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, you know? And we're never going to be perfect because He alone is perfect. But again, it's just like you do the right things, you learn from your experiences, you grow.
Exactly.
It builds character.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it builds
it's
a lot
so
of character.
true. Oh my gosh. I mean, I look back at some of the things that, like, mistakes that I've made, and or you know what I always tell people? I always say this. So okay, say for example, like I have a new car. Thankfully, there's no.
It still smells new.
It does. I got in it today, and I was like, "Hello, baby, I'm back."
But yeah, you haven't touched it.
I know. I like drove it today. I was like, "Oh, hi."
Oh, did you talk to it?
I did. I was
Tell
like,
her you
"Hey,
missed her?
hey, Harry, it's a guy."
What?
Wait, you didn't know this?
His name's Harry? Oh, out of all the names.
Because it's an HRV. So Harry, because he's HRV. And like Harry Styles. I mean, I love Harry Styles.
I don't know where this obsession came from.
Okay, I am not obsessed with Harry Styles. I like him a lot. He's got great music. Okay, this is besides the point. Anyways,
shout out Harry Styles.
Shout out Harry Styles if you're listening. No, but okay, you're talking about the character thing. So, like, say for example, like I buy, or my old car, right? If I would like, there would be like a scratch on it, or if there would be like something, I'm like, oh man, a new little mark or whatever, I'd be like, it's fine. Now my car has character, because it's, you know, so I think about it like that in the sense of like our life. It's like we go through these experiences, like you said, that just continue to build our character, and it makes us who we are. Sometimes some of those things, unfortunately, I wish I didn't have to go through, but at the end of the day, it's like, thank God that I went through some of these things that I wouldn't have learned otherwise, you know?
And you wouldn't be sitting in front of a camera giving your experiences, you know?
Yeah.
Or like it even makes your interactions. That's something I think about my past too, and it's just like
you can connect with other people.
Exactly. Exactly. So God can use it.
Exactly. So okay, so that was her kind of like story on an example of what she's very recently had to go through. For me, my one experience, this was about, oh gosh, this was maybe like 8 years ago. I actually got, oh hello plane, I don't know if y'all can hear that. I actually got fired from my first job out of college. You guys, I worked at this, I actually interned for them for like about a year. I don't know if I told you this story. So
it's shocking.
I know, because I was like in school, I was very ambitious. I was very like, oh my gosh, I have to have like a really good GPA and everything. So I worked really hard in school, and getting fired literally 6 months after I graduated college was very like,
it would break my heart.
Yeah, it really hurt, because I'm just like, whoa, I am this like honor student or whatever you want to call it, and I worked so hard to get to where I'm at, and then what, to be fired from a job. Now I will say, like, I don't want to, obviously I'm not going to go into details of the place and stuff, but it was a very toxic environment. The same day that I was fired, a manager was fired, and then the week before, one of my really close friends, who I'm still close friends with now, that's actually the whole experience bonded us, like that's what bonded us together, she got fired the week before. So they were doing a lot of like cleaning house and, you know, whatever you want to call it,
I guess.
But it was, I mean, I think after I left, there was maybe like another person or two who also like got let go or whatever. Wow. So in that moment, how old was I? I was like 22. And I just felt, wow, they tell you go to school, get a degree, and then you're going to get a good job. And so I felt like I was following those steps, and then I get fired. And then I'm just like, wait a minute, whoa, like this
Mm-hmm.
isn't what was supposed to
Mm-hmm.
happen. So it really like offset a lot of stuff for me mentally, because I kind of went, I would say like maybe for like a solid month, I went into this spiral of like, I'm not good enough. What was all of this for then?
Mm-hmm.
Just so I can, because I essentially was tossed into the real world, right? And then it's like, wow, the real world sucks. it's
Adulting is not fun.
it's not.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's not. And I mean, that was like my first experience. I was 22. I was still so young. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, like I questioned God a lot in that
Mm-hmm.
sense of like, God, like, what is happening? Like, I worked so hard. Why would someone like me get fired? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not perfect, but there's a lot of other people who were doing some shady stuff or whatever. And
Kept
then
the job.
they're still there. Like,
The whole
I'm
like, why do bad things happen to good people?
right. So that time was very hard for me and challenging, because I went through a whole period in my life where I questioned God a lot, and even my own faith. And that was during a period of time where I was just like, yeah, God, you're not so good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't fair. I see a lot of people around me thriving and succeeding, and I thought I was succeeding and I thought I was doing great, and I'm not. And for what? Like, I worked so hard to get this result. So obviously, like, went through a lot of things mentally and emotionally, spiritually during that time, and I temped for 9 months, you guys. And so I don't know if have you ever seen the movie
What's tempt?
Temping? Like, I was like a temp.
Oh,
Have you,
okay.
where
Yes,
like
yes,
they
yes,
send
yes.
you like different offices or
Yes.
whatever. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a nomad. I like, because I was literally going to different jobs like every
Mm-hmm.
week.
But in the same field?
Yeah,
Like,
I was doing a lot
would
of
you be in a
like, well,
contractor?
well, no, not really. It was like very short term. So a lot of the jobs were like admin work, and then
Mm-hmm.
some of them were also like creative, but that didn't really come until like the latter part of the 9 months. But I was doing that like for 9 months straight. And
So you didn't
so,
actually have like a real team.
no,
You just kept
no.
changing. That would drive me
Okay, I
crazy.
don't know if anyone's seen that movie. What is it? Oh, Monster in Law with Jennifer Lopez.
No.
Okay, you have to watch it later. It's so she's a temp. That's her job, and so she literally goes to different offices, and she's a temporary worker there. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that's honestly what my life was for 9 months, because I felt so lost. That's the thing. I was so lost after that. I was just like, where do I go? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we're gonna temp, because I still wanted to make money. That was my thing. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna just wait around to get a job. So
Yeah,
I was
for sure.
applying and stuff, and I was also being very picky too. So I think there was just a lot of factors in there.
You picky?
I know. What? Who? No, but yeah, so for 9 months I temped.
Mm-hmm.
I worked hard, but it was a period of time where I was kind of just wandering, trying to figure it out. I remember like I would stay a lot with my parents, and then I
Mm-hmm.
would stay with my at my sister's house, my friend's house, because I was literally going all across Dallas to for jobs, and I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't know. Do me sometimes they would call me on Monday morning or Tuesday morning and be like, "Hey, we have a job for you for the rest of the week," and I'd be like, "Okay," and I was at my friend's house, like spent the night, and then I would just go, and I would
That would
go.
stress me out.
I mean, it was stressful. I think maybe towards the end. In the beginning, I was like, okay, whatever, we're living my life. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
it feels very freeing to just
Mm-hmm.
do whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
then towards the end, when I'm like, okay, no, I need to like get
Solidify myself somewhere.
right. I need to like put my feet, set some roots or whatever. That's towards the end. Yeah, it got a bit rough, but God worked everything out. The job that I actually ended up getting after all that time was the last job that I had actually before I
Mm-hmm.
came here to California. And I was there for like, almost 8 years. Talk about loyalty, okay? I'm a loyal person. But
I do
but
that
yeah.
too, actually. Like
Mhm.
every company I've worked for, like I've been there for like 3, 4 years, and then
Mhm. I
like
know
I'll work my way up, and then I'm like, okay, bye,
a
next
lot
company.
a lot of people our age, I feel
They jump around a
they
lot.
jump around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So when people see like, oh, you've been in a company for like 5 years or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, wow. But both of us, I think outside of our careers, we're very loyal people in
Mm-hmm.
general.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're friends
It's
with us,
yeah,
you're stuck with
yeah.
us.
We're always gonna be friends with you.
Yes.
I think also like just our cultures play a role in that because like
Mhm.
we don't come from individualistic countries. We come from
Yeah.
collectivistic countries.
Mhm.
So like the Middle East and like
Mexico, yeah,
Hispanics.
Hispanic.
Um, yeah, like family orientation is so
Right.
important. Faith is important. So like the
Right.
whole concept of like yeah, like just like loyalty is number one when it
Mhm.
comes to family, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that kind of carries on into our friendships and even our
Exactly.
careers.
Yeah. And we stay loyal to God too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
So
It wasn't always like that, but
no,
we learned our lesson.
so true. But yeah, but no, those were like two experiences, and even for me now, like you had mentioned about California, like we talked about this in the last episode. We always knew we wanted to be here, but y'all, we're figuring it out.
Oh, for sure.
Like even now,
Mm-hmm.
like yes, we're setting a little bit of roots, but at the end of the day, I mean, we're just trying to figure things out as they come, and so
every week I have something new on my plate to deal with. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm always kind of living in the unknown. I feel like it's been like that since getting here.
Mm-hmm.
But I was speaking to my cousin last week on the phone, and I was just like complaining about, like, not complaining, I was like ranting about a couple things that were on my plate that are like really stressful.
Yeah.
And like it's understandably so, like why I have like these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But she was telling me, she was just like, why are you never content?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just take a second and realize that like you're living your prayer, you know?
Right.
Like you ask God for so many months and over so many tears, because I used to call her crying last year when California wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're literally there. You have a community. You have Jess. You're in school. You are like,
I had these feelings too.
Literally. And
I literally
like,
did my
gone.
Yes, I did my recap post on Instagram. I know this is stupid.
Yes, I saw that.
But I literally said like living out like
my answered
my answered prayer. So I had the same thoughts. Yeah.
And it's just like all aspects of my life are like thriving. And then I seem to like focus on these small little things where there is a lot of unknown.
You're like Alexander Hamilton. Have you seen the musical?
No.
Okay.
I know who he is, but I haven't watched the thing.
Well, because it's like his whole thing is the whole character or whatever, and then I guess in real life is that he's never satisfied. So there's literally like a lyric in one of the songs where it's like, you'll never be satisfied, never be satisfied, because he just keeps chasing like the next thing.
Exactly. And that's my issue. I'm always chasing the next thing. So like these past few months is just like learning to like chill out.
Oh my gosh, that's me too.
Oh,
because we're always worried about the next thing. We have this conversation, we're just like, okay, we gotta do this, we gotta do this, and it's like,
we need to enjoy our time here.
We just got here. I mean, we're going now on 3 months. Well, no, two. But like 2 months, you guys, and we're over here like, what are we gonna do about this?
I know,
like
the meltdowns that we've had.
Yeah, it's like there's no.
It feels longer than 2 months, though. To be fair for us,
no, it does.
Like, I look back when I first landed here, like it doesn't feel like it was 2 months ago. Like we've done so much. I've made so many friendships. So many things have happened. Like,
I know. Yeah. But it's just
a journey.
It's in our nature, I think, to just, both of us also have ADHD, so we just also just overthink and get distracted, and we, we're like, oh, we should go do this, and then we're like, we jump around so much,
like children,
literally. So yeah, so it has its challenges, and we're not perfect, but we're just, again, we stay learning, and we try to keep God always the foundation of everything, because he literally keeps us sane, like, so we don't go crazy.
And like you make a good point. Like, another thing that contributes to this is like our hustler mentality. It's just like we're always on the go, next thing. Look, let's go achieve. What's my next goal?
We're very ambitious. Yeah.
How do I achieve it? What are like? Who are the stakeholders? Like, like. What's a plan like? What are the finances looking like?
She's such a business person. You said stakeholders.
I literally analyzed the full situation.
I know.
And I think I've realized in the last like 2 weeks that like, yes, God has created me like this. He has created me into this personality.
Yeah.
He's created the way I think, the way I approach, and all the above, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, my personality and the way he's created me should never take priority over surrendering to him,
right,
in the unknown,
because it's so easy for us, but for anyone to want to control and be like, well, I'm gonna do things my way, or I want to do it like this because
this
I know best.
No problem, I have this plan,
right?
And it's just like, okay, well, why do you need God?
Right. No.
Yeah. So I think that's so kind of my lesson the last 2 weeks, is just like, yes, God has created me the way I am, but I need to also realize that like, I belong to him, meaning like anything that comes my way, I am to go to him first, rather than like try to figure it out on my own. because I just like, need to understand by now, especially after last year's experiences of trying to come here so many times and it always being on my plan, according to my timeline,
right,
you know, on my schedule, like on my finances, everything was just like according to me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like trusting God in the unknown.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, before we go into the tips, because we do have 4 tips for you guys, one thing too that you've said that made like just triggered my mind was releasing control. Because like I had mentioned this a lot to my friends and family and was like, even okay, specifically about California. I was wanting to control so much of like how I was going to get here, how things were going to work out. And literally, when I started praying and just saying, all right, God, I don't know how it's going to happen, but like, I'm just going to literally stop what I'm trying to do and try to make everything work how I wanted to work. And when I did that, that's when I saw change. That's when I saw things happen, is when I really just released control and was just like, literally just prayed and was like, okay, God, like, I don't know why, but I have peace about this, that it's going to work out. So you got me. Thank you. And that's literally all I did. And it's not like God's a genie and you just, okay, like I'm going to rub a lamp and he's just going to give me whatever. But like,
I think of Aladdin right away.
I love Aladdin.
She went to a okay, completely off topic, but she went to an Aladdin cafe when she went home. She said the food was mid, but
it was, no offense to Aladdin Cafe in Richardson, Texas, but it was really cute. The aesthetics were really cute, but the food was But anyways, I thought of her because her people were there.
I know, but like
the Middle East.
Iraqis, I don't know if it was Iraqis running it.
Yeah, I don't know. I should have asked.
I'm gonna look on the website and see like if I can look into like
what is y'all's ethnicity?
What country?
Right. But no, so yeah, anyway, release control, and we'll probably finish up with that thought too as we continue the podcast. But yeah, let's get into these tips.
Okay, my first tip that I kind of wrote down was when you are faced with a very big problem and it's like you don't know what to do, how to move forward. My first tip would be adjusting your mindset by reframing the situation mentally. So instead of being fearful and anxious about the unknown, just think of it as like, wow, God is giving me an opportunity to develop a character in me, like a characteristic in me. He's giving me a chance to depend on him in the situation. You know, he's going to, one thing I've one thing I've learned from last year, God will give you the same test over and over and over and over again until like
you learn.
You get it. You know? And I can think of a couple things, but there's this one situation where I literally kept getting the same exact test with the same people involved every single time. And I failed every single time. But it wasn't until my last one did I not fail. But just like
you finally learned.
You learned, exactly. And I just wanted to kind of use or just reference James 1, verse 3-4. It says, "For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing."
It's good.
So yeah, God gives us tests. God gives us opportunities for us to do better. And when we're in this place where we don't know what to do, or we're scared of the unknown and we're anxious and we feel like we have no control and we've lost all control, just think of it as like God is finally giving you an opportunity to do better this time around. So just changing your mindset, because a mindset is everything. Yeah. Shout out to Christina. She told me that this week, my sister.
Aw.
Yeah.
Hi,
Tina. Miss you.
No, that's so good. And a lot of people too, like maybe some people are listening, they're like, well, how do you know that that's God giving you a test or whatever? I mean, that's just what we believe, right? We're just like, these are opportunities for us to learn and to grow. And so, yeah, that mindset is so important with anything in life.
I was just about to say anything.
Yeah, with anything. Because if you, like, it's like having a negative attitude. If you have a negative attitude, then of course things are going to be like all like, wah, wah, wah. Like, you know, like.
I mean, there's also like facts and scientific facts behind it. Like if you look up the impact of optimism versus pessimism, like you can see like optimism is correlated with a lot of positive things. And, like, people that are more optimistic are more successful in life in all aspects. Their marriages last longer. Like there's just, it's a strategy to problems and facing problems head on rather than falling back and being like all emotional about it.
Mm-hmm. That's so good.
Yeah, it's a strategy.
So yeah, that was good, Domy. Tip number 1, adjust your mindset. Okay, tip number 2, remind yourself of what God says. So I think a lot of times, like whenever, I mean, me specifically, or probably for both of us, anyone, when we have a problem, we have an issue, we literally run to like everyone to complain about it, or we just immediately shut down and just like, oh, get super like negative or whatever. And we don't even stop and like bring our faith into it, like bring God into it. And like God obviously knows he's God. So it's like that should be the first source that we go to when like a conflict arises, or when we are feeling lost or confused, or just, yeah, we're afraid. That should be the first thing that we should, do, is stop and reflect and talk to God and remember what he says. Like, and for us, that's the Bible, right? Like what it says in his word. And I think too, like, if we like kind of going back to the mindset, if you were to have like negative thoughts and all these things, you're only fueling the enemy to just feed off of that, and then for you to probably even go more off the rails if you're just continuing to go further away.
It's poisonous.
From God. So keep that in mind as you are, maybe you're listening and you're like, man, I'm really going through this right now, or I'm lost, I'm confused, I'm don't know what I'm gonna do about the situation. Just remember, keep God first, and and then that alone, once you keep God first and you just like a simple thing of just like praying about it. I think maybe people also have this misconception of like, oh, okay, as Christians, like we're just always like, we wake up and we go smell the roses outside and we just like sing la di da di da. We're Christians and we're all so happy. We're like little trolls.
The roses outside.
Yeah,
they're growing and they're blooming.
We're just like little trolls. Like Jesus is so good. Like no, sometimes it's not like that. It's
a battle.
Sometimes it's like that. No, I'm just kidding.
Flesh, yeah,
well, sometimes you can be like, you can really feel in your spirit like it's just really good. But life is hard, right? And so it's so important whenever life gets hard, or when you're kind of just feeling meh about life, to keep God in the center of everything, and to remember that God hasn't gone anywhere. So whenever we feel like we're distant from God, it's not because he's gone anywhere. It's because we've probably maybe just like disconnected a little bit. And then I think that's okay. Like we're humans. Like give yourself grace if you're like, oh man, like you shouldn't feel like, oh man, I'm a bad person or anything like that. But like give yourself grace whenever, I don't want anyone who's hearing this to think, oh, well, I don't really feel as connected to God, so maybe that's why I'm going through these issues. Because you know what? That was kind of like a thing for me in the past, where I would feel like, oh, these certain negative situations or things are happening to me. This is God punishing me. And I think maybe sometimes, like, depending on what you're doing, you're bringing that upon yourself. But just remember, like, keep close to God, and it will really, kind of like her first tip, like it will then help you to have a better mindset, and they just go hand in hand in everything. So,
and
yeah.
like he's given us his word. Okay, humans from the beginning of time have never changed. Okay, there are endless promises in this book that he's given to us. So many examples of Bible characters, like even Noah. Okay, like I had written something about Noah, and it was just like,
Noah was crazy at the end, y'all. If y'all have never heard the story in the Bible, like I remember being like a teenager and like reading the story later, because you hear about Noah, like, oh, Noah in the ark, blah blah blah, and then later I'm like, wait, Noah wasn't drunk?
Yeah, what? For sure. And God used him.
Yeah,
but it was just like God told him to build an ark, and he trusted him and waited 120 years until the rain came.
Yeah,
people thought he was crazy. Like, what do you guys think that Noah was thinking in those 120 years? Like,
yeah.
What my unknown seems like nothing compared to 120 years.
Oh yeah.
But that's to say, like, go in the Bible, spend time in the Word, look at like how God, time and after time, has constantly been the same, has always been faithful. His promises to people back then and to us now will always be the same.
Yeah.
So just like when you're anxious, one thing like I suggest doing is like go look, use resources, use your tools. Like there's so many internet tools on there, like
ChatGPT.
Yes, ChatGPT.
I'm kidding,
Literally my
but not
best
really.
friend. Yeah, no, I do not use it for school. But yeah, like write down a bunch of verses. Did you look at me?
I made a face, you guys, if you're watching the video. I made a face. Anyways.
But like write down a bunch of verses, you know, that
Speak
speak
it,
to these
yes,
things.
and speak it
Speak them
over
to yourself.
yourself.
When you wake up in the morning, read these 10 verses and remind yourself of God's promises, you know, because yes, God knows his word, but he loves to see you like really putting that word in and applying it to your life, your everyday. And it's also like a slap in the face of the devil. Like, you know, like you're waking up and you're reminding yourself of God's promises to you.
Right.
You walk stronger.
Right.
You walk more confidently. You're able to like deal with whatever pressure is coming your day because you reminded yourself of what God's promises are to you.
Right.
So yeah, spend time with the Lord.
Yeah.
Know his word, know his promises, remind yourself of those promises.
Yeah.
God enjoys hearing them. Satan hates it. But that is ultimately our goal, where we're trying to please the Lord in our spirit and not Satan in our flesh.
Right. Oh, yeah, not our flesh. Because our flesh would tell us all the things that are not true. So
it sends you like a mental spiral, like it's
but yeah, it's
dark places.
Think about it like you know, people always talk about like positive like affirmations, but like what better positive affirmation can you have than like
something
actually
true.
than speaking like, you know, like what God says about you, you know?
Your creator. He knows you.
Right. So good. Okay, tip number 3.
Yeah, tip number 3. Mine said include in community. So invite others to pray for what you're going through. We don't realize the power of prayer. I think it's very important to, I think we mentioned this in the last podcast, like we were never meant to do life alone, you know, like Adam had everything, and God still saw that he needed someone, you know. So our God is a communal God. Like he wants us to do life with other people, with other believers, and that
also it's not fun to do life alone.
Yeah, like this is supposed to be a fun journey.
Yes.
Are you having fun?
Yes.
I don't like this can't be more like doing life together than like sleeping under this in the same room.
No one would want to hear me talk by myself. I promise you, it would not be good.
I can't imagine it.
I would just be, you know what? Let's not think about it. It would be something.
Literally.
But no, just community.
Like the community aspect. Like invite people, have a group of friends where you open up about certain things
and you don't have to like tell, because I think there's like 2 sides to that, right? So it's like you don't want to be telling all your friends your business.
Yeah,
but you need to have, I think it's so important, an inner group of people. So like I mean, I think for both of us, we can both say that we have like an inner circle where it's like these set people in my life. Like for instance, like I have like I would say like 2 solid mentors who are also friends. They're older than me. And I always try to talk to them about everything that's going on in my life because they have gone before me in life. So like why wouldn't I want to like get their advice and counsel? And then just they're also like friends too, so like just having them along the journey. And I know they're obviously older than me, but we have other people who are closer to our age and stuff like that. But yeah, community is so important. Like why would anyone want to walk around in this crazy world without alone, without good people by their side?
For sure. You just made me think, like, I think I need an older lady mentor, because my mentors are like my closest friends. But what's cool about my closest friends is that they all have a different personality. And sometimes, like, I know if you're listening to this, you know who you are, but sometimes it dreads me to bring up certain things to like certain people because I know their reaction,
what they're gonna say,
and what they're gonna say, and I know they're gonna get so mad at me
because they know her so well.
They know me so well, but there's parts to this. Number one, they know me so well. I've been vulnerable with my weaknesses, what I need help with prayer for, what I'm struggling with, what I'm facing. So they get to pray for me. And then obviously there's going to be like a end result of what I had brought up. So I share that feedback with them. Or that result with them. And then they give me their feedback. But they each have a different personality. So they all come with different perspectives, which really allows me to like have a full picture of like whatever I'm going through. So yeah, community is important. open up
and
to your group of
they'll
friends.
help you too. Like,
Yes.
you know, I think for us, we mentioned this in the last episode, like we don't live by ourselves. We live with a couple other girls here in this house. And what's really nice is obvious. Yeah, just a few.
Just a few. Like,
But
yeah.
y'all, if y'all know us personally, you already know the number. It's a lot.
Pretty fun, actually.
No, but
Super fun.
no, but it is really fun. We love all the girls in the house. But what was I saying about that?
Sorry, I
don't remember. Oh, but yeah, like it's just like it's helpful to have when you're going through things that are hard or like I don't know, you have a bad day. It's like
I cried yesterday in one of my roommate's arms.
Oh,
like
you did?
I did, and I never
wasn't
cried.
here.
You didn't see
it's okay.
it.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen you cry before.
Yeah. But like I broke down because I was just like super stressed, and okay, it was like 30 seconds, so don't get too excited that I cried.
That's like, oh, Jimmy cried.
I know. Yeah, if you know me, crying is not a thing I've been doing at all.
I don't remember the last time I cried, actually.
I
didn't even really cry when I moved
and that's
here.
not healthy. Maybe that's something else we could talk about.
I know that's.
But in that moment, like she embraced me and she prayed for me right there and then, you know. And the prayer ended. I picked myself back up, you know, wiped my tears, fixed my mascara, went upstairs, put on my gym outfit, went and worked out with her, you know. So like it's community, not just like also in prayer, which is super important and everything, but like go do things.
Yeah.
You know, go find healthy outlets. Like
we literally do everything together, you guys. And with our roommates too. Like
it's so much fun. Like you need life goes on. Like just finding healthy outlets, having a community, having them like be involved in your prayer life and just understanding what you're going through.
Yeah.
Just, you need people.
Yeah.
You really need people.
Good people. Yeah, I was gonna say something else about that. But basically like because if you have people who are toxic or people who are probably not like they don't have the best characteristics or traits, you know, these people who don't have integrity or they're not kind, you know, you don't want people like that in your inner circle because then that's only going to rub off on you and then
you are your environment.
Yeah, so you want the people in your inner circle to be a reflection of you and then vice versa. So yeah, community.
You want people that call you higher, you want people that pour into you, you want people that just like, you know, like they
speak life. Yeah, sorry,
people that
I don't want to cut you off.
No, that was what I was looking for. You read my mind
like we usually do. Yeah. Okay, and last but not least, tip number 4, learn to release control. That's something that we already kind of touched on a little bit, but I think the reason why we did is because it's so important. It's something that I've learned really honestly, like last year was a big lesson in me learning how to release control because in all areas of my life, I was trying to control everything and trying to make sure, like, I think we're both perfectionists, right? So we just always try to make big time. Man. But I've totally like loosened up. Like
anytime they ask me on interviews, what's one of your weaknesses? Perfectionist.
I'm a perfectionist.
I like to do everything. I love to go up, which is true. Like I'm too much of a perfectionist, and it's.
Yeah, no. I feel like for me though, like thank God for last year. So many different experiences really shattered that for me in a good way where it's like I am way more chill, I'm way more relaxed, I'm way more just not just I took submissive to God. Yeah, like I'm just like, okay, I'm going to stop worrying and stressing out about stuff because God's got me. Because before my mentality was I'm worrying and stressed out because what I'm trying to do isn't working out or the things that I'm trying to like, A to Z, like they're not, I'm going all over the place and it's not working because guess what? I wasn't giving God full control. So something that I wrote this down, something that I'd heard from one of my favorite like pastors, and he also has like a leadership podcast. He's Craig Rochelle. He said, "What you worry about the most often reveals where you trust God the least." And I thought that was so good because it's like, I thought about even now, like things that I'm worrying about now, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, I don't think that God's going to like come through in that area of my life. And why am I worrying? Because everything else in my life, I trust God in, except for this. And then something else that he had said recently too, in his like leadership podcast was, you can have faith or you can have control, but you can't have both. So that's something that, learned lesson for me last year. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna like pray and ask God to like help me with these things, but then at the same time I'm like, I wasn't like letting go of like the situation or like whatever the experience was. And so it's like just completely leaving it in God's hands and being like, okay, God,
having faith, trusting that He'll
truly
provide.
having faith, and saying, God, you're gonna come through one way or another. And then that's when all my worries, I don't want to say all my worries, I think at the end of the day, probably still had a little few worries, right?
Yeah, of course.
But like most of my worries went away and I was able to not feel anxious or feel like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to get through this or whatever? How's God going to make it work? Like that peace from God came and I'm just like, now I could just relax. And thankfully, I feel like I'm still learning that lesson now.
Yeah,
but it's a lot easier. Last year was hard for me to learn that lesson. Like you said, like the same lesson over and over. That's how it was for me last year. I feel like it was just repeating. And now I feel like I'm in a much better, healthier space.
You get better
where I'm like, okay, when I feel that I'm getting this way, let me stop and let me try to reconfigure, and like get connected back to God again, because I like went off the rails. So it's so true. She's seen me when I like, what would you?
What's so funny? Like when she's like sporadic with her comments, it's just like that's how our brains work.
It's so bad. She'll be like, stop. like,
I know how to like. But no, when you were just talking right now, it just reminded me of like, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but like Matthew 6 verse 25 to 34. But essentially saying like, in all your worries at a single moment to your life, like God takes care of the birds, He takes care of the lilies. They make sure everything gets fed. You don't think that He's going to take care of you at the end of the day. Like where we're at, where His creation's at, like we were made in His image. Like there's no way that He's not going to take care of you. So seeking Him in these situations is so essential, because like He's got you.
Right. And a lot of the things that we worry about too, like these fears that we have, because we are essentially, everything is unknown. Anything can happen in life, right? Unfortunately, like we right now, I feel like we're both doing really well, and sure, there's maybe some things that we're working on, but anything can change the trajectory of our path. But that's the whole point in life, is to be connected to God. So whenever something does kind of throw us off a bit, we're not going crazy or going buck wild, because we know that God's in control and God's going to take care of it. Easier said than done, I know, right? Sure. And there's a lot of, if someone's gone through some trauma, and I know we've had our own personal experiences that have been hard, it's easier said than done to be like, yeah, trust in God and just go and, live your life. No, it's not easy, but it's a discipline, and it will get a whole lot easier when you continue to practice and you continue. Yeah, exactly. Like it's like going to the gym, right? If you work out and you continue to work the same muscle, then you're going to see growth. You're going to see progress. Same thing with your relationship with God. If you're not talking to God, or if you're, not connected to Him, then of course you're not going to see life in the same way, because you're not connected. You're not being consistent. So consistency, right? That's another thing that we probably talk about later.
Discipline. That's another good topic.
Discipline.
Actually.
Yeah. Because discipline goes into like so many areas of your life. Faith, your day-to-day habits, like just everything. So
health, relationships, career.
Everything.
Okay, so we're gonna just kind of wrap this up.
Should we recap the tips? Just like say them one more time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. You go to.
Okay, so tips. Tip number 1, adjust your mindset by reframing the situation mentally. Tip number 2, remind yourself of what God says in His Word. Tip number 3, include community. And then last tip number 4, learn to release control. Yeah. So yeah, I know we kind of, we went into a lot of detail there, but those are the 4 tips.
Just some wisdom that we're passing along.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of our power verse is very popular, but Proverbs.
Oh wait, hold on. In case someone didn't listen to the episode last time, this little part that we're gonna do every time we wrap up the show is it's we need to get like a little, I don't know, like a, not a theme song, but like a little like noise or something where it's
power verse,
where
you get them and you'll clap.
little clapping hands.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay, guys, it's time. Or like a bell.
Powerverse. Yeah. We'll get a bell. Okay, we'll get a bell. But anyways, sorry.
Yes.
She's going to say the Powerverse for this week.
Yeah. So it's a popular one. Everyone knows it. Proverbs 3, verse 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. So yeah, like the unknown is very exhausting. It's emotionally, scary. Physically, mentally, spiritually, economically, sometimes everything. Even legally. But
all the alleys.
All the alleys. But all you just got to remember is like the Lord's got it. He has it under control. You just need to surrender it to him. Trust that he has your best intentions at heart. Trust that he can see the beginning to the end. Yeah. We see only a little picture. Yeah. You know?
Because we're little humans.
Because we're so limited. Our brain's so limited.
And also, don't overthink it too. I think for both of us, I know we've talked about this, like we just overthink and overanalyze so many things in our life. And, you know, just take, again, back to the control. Like just take some control off of that and just trust. Like if you believe in God, God's got it, right? So again, why should we worry? Why should we stress out? It's not, in the end, it's not worth it to worry and stress out about something.
It's taking away from you. Yeah. It's truly taking away from you. And just like a piece of advice, I just thought about this, and it's just like, if you're facing a situation of the unknown and like a big decision that you have to make, right? Like this verse says it, like, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. So practically speaking, in your prayers, like you always ask God for his will to be done in your life. You seek God before you make a decision, not after. You spend time in God's word before making these decisions.
Especially big decisions too.
Yeah, for sure. Right. And if it's a decision that is going to compromise on your faith, your values, your morals, you know, like you are to turn away from evil. So that should be an answer in itself. But yeah. Trust God. He's got you always. He'll never leave you nor forsake you.
That's so true.
He's got us this far.
Yeah. I know everything that we've accomplished and been able to do this all at this glory. Point, in our lives, it all goes back to, man, thank you, God, because I couldn't have done it myself. And not that we're like, oh, we're such successful people, but there's just been a lot of faithfulness. And we're just really thankful. Yeah. So
I'm thankful for, honestly,
everything.
Lord Jesus' life in my hand. His hand in my life. That was backwards.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, you'll see me do that a lot. But yeah, I'm just thankful for his hand in my life, and just you know, just getting me through all these tough times. And I ask that you guys just trust him. Easier said than done, but it'll work out in your favor, and you'll see great fruit.
Yes. I feel like we were giving a lot of shout outs last episode, so this time we want to shout out God. Shout out to God.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
But no, I feel like if anyone has any questions, or just like, or even if you're like, you know what, I'm going through this, can y'all pray for me? We will do that 1000%. So please let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us know.
And again, these experiences that we talk about on here are very like surface level. You know, we don't go into much detail. But if there's anyone out there that has like a similar situation, or like is just needing like wanting to talk or whatever, like I'm more than happy to go into the details. I love going into details. I just don't want to give my whole life out on the internet.
No. Or, you know, like, like kind of you were saying, like, honestly, when I got fired from that job, I didn't know anyone else who had gone through something like that. So like situations like that where it's like, oh, okay, like they've gone through that or whatever, like let me ask for advice, or let me connect with them. It's
humbling, but it's worth it.
Or sometimes if you don't even need advice, you just need someone to listen to you. That's what we're here for.
For sure.
No, but for real, I don't know why I laughed. Because I was being serious. But anyway.
Well, thanks guys for joining.
Yes, thanks for listening to this episode. Second episode.
I feel like we figured out like the lighting, the mics, like the stand.
I know last time the lighting was like a little funky, but I think it's better this time. But yes.
We're learning.
If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, you should follow us on Instagram at Powercoast Girls. We're also on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and
coming to a near billboard. Wait, no.
Billboard?
Ooh. Coming to a billboard near you.
She knows something that I don't. But anyways.
I messed that one up. It's not even funny
Maybe
anymore.
one day. I don't know. Or we're still laughing. They're probably like, okay.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.